We are here for the career transition, building confidence and crafting your pitch. So thank you everyone for taking some time out of your Monday to join that and here with us. And then we are Amalavita. Lauren, if you want to go to the next slide. And we are a life, health, and wellness leadership and career coaching company. Today, our topic is career transitioning focus. So just you know that we do have other services as well. And my name is Justice, and I'm one of the relationship strategists on the team. And what that means is whenever someone comes to us and is looking to invest in coaching for themselves or learn a little bit more about the organization or overall what coaching is, we'll have a half-hour conversation where I'll just get to know more about you and what your goals are. That way I can pair you up with one of the coaches on our team that I think would be most appropriately suited for you. Odds are some of you have spoken with me or one of my colleagues in the past, but if not, you are interested in learning more, there will be opportunities later and in the follow-up to kind of get connected with us so we can make sure that we are able to connect if we need to. And then I'm going to hand it over to Lauren, who's going to talk about the topic that we have for today. But then at the end of the presentation, I will be back to introduce a special offer that is available to everyone here and watching the recording. So I'll be back a little bit later to talk about that, and then we'll have some time for a Q&A at the end. But other than that, I'm going to hand it over to you, Lauren.
Awesome. Thanks, Justice. So, welcome everyone. For those of you who don't know me yet, I am Lauren. I am what I like to call a life first career and leadership coach here with Alma La Vida. So if you would have told me that I would be a career and leadership coach back when I was studying in university, I probably would not have believed you. But this is why I am so passionate about career transitions, because my own career journey has been anything but linear. So I actually started my career in fashion. I then transitioned to teaching. I've taught on 3 different continents now. From teaching, transitioned to digital marketing, where I've worked with startups around the world. And now here I am in coaching. So while this might seem a bit random and like I've jumped around quite a lot, I truly believe that every time that I have transitioned, I have broadened my skills and my perspective, shaped different strengths, and it's truly led me to work that I loved and that fit what I was looking for in that moment. So that is why I now help others with their career transitions. I really do believe that it is possible to pivot with purpose and confidence. And I know firsthand how daunting this process can be, the feelings that come along with it, the fear, the possible self-doubt. So that's why we're going to talk about confidence today and how to really grow that to own our career transition story so that that doesn't get in the way from us actually taking the steps to make it our reality. So just a quick agenda today. By the end of this webinar, I'm really hoping that you will walk away with your clear career transition pitch. So we're going to do things a little bit differently today. There actually is going to be a workshop portion of this. How many times have you all been to a webinar or a class? I know I'm guilty of this too, and you're going to hear my air conditioner make a little noise for a moment, but we consume the content and then we don't actually do anything with it. So that is not what's going to happen today. We're actually going to workshop this together, and you're going to walk away with your pitch and some next steps of how to actually use that. So Justice will come in with a special offer that can also help with some of that accountability and taking action. But if you stay till the end, we will have some hot seat coaching where we'll get some practice and feedback in, which again is a really important part of this process to actually use and put to practice what we're going to talk about today. So some grounding and logistics quickly. Be present. If you are here with us today, please try to either silence your notifications or put your phone off to the side, close out your email. The way that you're going to get the most out of today's session is if you're here with us and present. We're also going to make sure that we're all respecting each other. So I do see quite a bit of people are talking in the chat over here, which is great. No idea is a bad idea. So please, if you have a question, ask it. If you're thinking it, that probably means that others are as well. If you have an idea, something to share, something you've seen work, that is the power of being in a group. I am not the only expert here. I see we also have some of our other coaches are here as well. So we really want to keep the chat as interactive as possible. Justice and Jillian are in there. So continue sharing, asking your questions. I'll look over there every once in a while to see if I can incorporate some of that as well. So let's keep this interactive. Nobody wants a monologue and just for me to be running the show the whole time. Today's session will be recorded, so you should have gotten a notification about that, but I always just like to make sure that you know it's being recorded, and this will be shared to YouTube afterwards. This is still a safe environment, so please come share, again, ask your questions, and just know that it will be shared. The replay will be on YouTube. We love to see your face, so I see some of you are still joining. If you can turn on your camera, please turn it on. I love to see you all and also see how the content is landing. That gives me some information as well. Take notes, ask questions. And again, Justice and Jillian will be in there if you have any questions for them. So something I always like to ask when I get started with a webinar or any kind of group is really getting an idea of what you want to get out of today's session. So obviously there's content involved, but really getting an idea of what you want to walk away with helps me to know how to cater what I'm sharing, how much time I'm spending on certain content. So drop either one of these emojis or a 1, 2, 3 in the chat to let me know what you really want to get out of today's session. So are you looking to really clarify your career direction, create a real, strong pitch that you can take out and start sharing with others, or communicating your value with confidence? All right, so I'm seeing some 1s in here, some 2s, 1 and a 3, 2 and a 3. Okay, we have a pretty mixed bag, which is awesome. And if you see me looking over here, I have my chat on the other screen. Okay, great. Awesome. Okay, so we do have quite a mix in here. So again, what's really helpful with this is if you ask questions as we go, and if you're looking for further support, staying till the end is when we will have the practice and the hot seat coaching if any of you wants to actually get into how we could personalize this for you. So why are we even talking about this today? This is really important. Telling our story, being able to talk about what it is that we want to do, what we're doing now, and what we're transitioning into is crucial, because your next opportunity is probably going to come from a conversation or a connection, not just an application. So this is not me saying that applications are not important. Obviously, applications are still important, and chances are the conversation and the connection are the thing that's going to supercharge this possibility of a career transition. Even if you do put in an application that stands out and gets noticed, you're going to have a conversation with someone before that turns into a real opportunity. So we want to be able to really confidently talk about our experience, connect the dots, and tell the story of our career transition. And so just to back this up, this isn't theory, this is actually backed up by data. Here are a few stats. Some of you might have seen these before. 70% of jobs are never published publicly. 70%, that's more than half. So just let that sink in for a moment. Also, anywhere from 50 to 85% of jobs are filled through networking. And I have networking in quotes here for a reason. Networking does not have to be something formal where you're throwing on a suit and going to a networking event. Networking just means connections, relationships. This could be through people in your community that you already have, through people that you're meeting. Really, this is through relationships. So anywhere from 50 to 85% of jobs are filled through relationships. 1 in 3 referred candidates results in a hire. That is a wild statistic, 1 in 3. So if you have someone refer you, that boosts your chances to 1 in 3 that you could turn that into an opportunity. And just to show that networking is not only formal networking, 35% of LinkedIn users say that a casual conversation has led to a new opportunity. So again, this is sharing our story, not only in formal settings, but just getting in the habit of sharing it as much as possible. Here's the challenge though. If this is the data, if this is the truth here, why aren't people doing this more? And so this is actually something that I see the majority of my clients, my coaching clients, are not they're not marketing themselves and they're not networking. So there's a reason for that, but also, we talk about this and this is the part that they often come to and they're holding back on. And there are a few reasons that I've seen mostly for that: fear or self-doubt, imposter syndrome, lack of clarity, not knowing what to say. So talking about career change can feel hard. It can. And a lot comes up when we think about telling our career change story, when we think about telling the story of what we're doing now and where we're transitioning to. Fear of what other people might think, fear of rejection, self-doubt around our skills, imposter syndrome around, do I even have the experience and background that I need to transition into this area? Or maybe lack of clarity, you don't even know what you want to transition into. You know that where you are right now is not working, it's not where you want to be, but you don't really know what's next. And that is also stopping you from telling people about this transition. Or maybe you just don't know what you want to say. So you know you want to start telling people about it, but you don't know what to say. And so I'm seeing imposter syndrome is so real in the chat. Yeah, that is one that I see a lot with my clients, but I've seen a mix of this. And so really what all of this boils down to is confidence. We really want to build confidence so that these things, even if we're feeling them, even if this is present for us, this isn't getting in the way of us taking action. Because if we're not taking action, if we're not sharing our story, people can't help us. So this is a mindset shift that I always offer to my clients, and we really work on reframing how we see confidence, because confidence is a skill. It's not a personality trait. So this is not something that we either have or we don't. Confidence is something that we can build like a muscle. The more we practice, the more confidence we build, the stronger it gets. So that's why today I really want us to draft this elevator pitch so you can get out there and start practicing. And we're going to leave you with some next steps too. But if we are not sharing this story, we are staying in this cycle of not having the confidence, continuing to not share. And then those things like, and I'll just go back to it for a minute, fear, self-doubt, imposter syndrome, we're allowing those to grow. Also, if we're not sharing, we're not finding the clarity that we're looking for because we're not talking to people about it. We're not gathering information because we're holding ourselves back. And if we don't know what to say, practicing also allows us to see how it lands, what's working, what's not working, what could we tweak next time. So really getting in the habit of thinking of confidence like a skill, something that we can practice, is going to help with all of these other things that we might be facing as obstacles as well. I like to think of this with career transitions as you're not starting over, you're growing into what's next. So this isn't about erasing your past. This isn't about everything that you've done before not being relevant or valid. This is about connecting the dots. So that's what we're going to do with this elevator pitch today, is really connect the dots from where you are now, what you've done in the past, and where you want that to bring you. So the key is really sharing that with confidence and telling that story. So that's where the career transition elevator pitch comes in. A good career transition elevator pitch does three things. It is brief and concise, but it's impactful and engaging. So the reason it's called an elevator pitch is, think about being on an elevator with someone for 30 to 60 seconds. You have a short amount of time to get across your story, to tell them your story, to share. So we need it to be brief, but also impactful, memorable, engaging. And this is an opportunity spotlight. So we really want to highlight who you are, what you do, and why it is that you're exploring or what you're exploring. The part that I see most people leave out is number 3. This, I would argue, is the most crucial part of the elevator pitch, is the ask at the end. We want to make it easy for whoever we're talking to support us. Generally, people do want to help. They want to help us, but if we're not telling them how they can help us, they might not, because then they have to think about how to help us. So we really want to be clear on what our ask is, how they can support us. Do we want them to connect us to other people? Do we want to learn more about a certain industry? Do we even just want to connect with them on LinkedIn so we can continue building that relationship and nurturing that relationship? So this part I'm really going to encourage all of you to think about today, because this is the part that I often see people leave out, and this will make or break the elevator pitch. So just to show you how this really works, I want to use a client example. This actually happened last week, and I did change the information in here just to keep it confidential, but we're going to call this client Jordan. So Jordan had recently applied for a job at a company that he saw was going to be at an alumni career fair event for his alma mater. So he came to his session and he was like, oh my gosh, there's an opportunity. I just applied for this job and they're going to be at this event that I'm going to next week. How can I talk to them and how can I let them know that I've applied for this job and really make a memorable impression so that that could lead to something? We used the exact pitch that I'm going to share with you in just a moment. We workshopped it together and really we focused on that ask. So again, the ask is the most important part here. What do we actually want this conversation to lead to? And so the outcome, again, this just happened last week on Thursday, actually. He engaged in a conversation with someone from that company. It was not the hiring manager, but it was someone, a representative from that company who was at the event. And even though he wasn't involved with that specific position, he was impressed. They had a great conversation, and he offered to personally introduce Jordan to the hiring manager of the role that he had just applied for. Jordan told me there was a line of people waiting to talk to this company, a line, and he only had about 60 seconds. So we're talking like a real elevator pitch here. He had 60 seconds to meet this person, talk to them, tell the story and get the ask, get that next step out in the air so that this could actually lead to something. And so this just shows how a clear and confident pitch can actually open doors. You don't have to be talking to the decision maker. You don't have to be talking to the person that's actually going to hire or give you the job or the opportunity. But the more people that you tell, the more people they can tell and the more people they can connect you to. So think of this as a spider web and you're in the middle. The more people that you're telling your story to, the more people can help you and the more doors will open to opportunities for you down the line. So let's look at the script really quick. And yes, please take a screenshot of this. We'll also share this in the follow-up. This is a very simple, I like to think of it as a framework. So obviously we're not going to use this, write it out, and then just regurgitate this. We want to make sure that it's still conversational, that it comes across in your tone, that you're telling your story in a way that makes sense. So really what I'd like you to pay attention to here is on the left side. The intro, current, past, future, and ask. These are those key points that you can have in your head. So rather than trying to memorize a script, you have this in your head and can think through, your story, what you're good at, and really share this with other people. And I'll show you an example of this in just a moment. The intro, really quick, who you are. It's great to meet you. If you're meeting people or even if you're sharing this with people you already know, obviously you could skip this part, but when you're meeting people for the first time, you always want to introduce yourself. The current and the past, this we want to mention briefly. So that's why I bolded briefly here. We don't want to get stuck on what you're doing now and what you've done in the past. The key here is we're connecting the dots to the future. So the current and the past, that can be the foundation that really sets the stage for your skills, what you've learned, your experience, what you're good at, so that you can connect that to what's to come. And you'll see within future, there's two different options here. Some of you in this room, you might actually have a good idea of what you want. You know what's next, you know what role or what industry you want to transition into, and you know why. Some of you might still be exploring. You might not know what you want next, and that's totally okay. Most of my clients, I would say, actually fit into this second category. They're coming because they want to make a career transition, but they're not actually sure what they want to do yet. That clarity isn't fully there. That has stopped them from sharing their story. And again, if we're not sharing, if we're not talking about this, that can actually be counterproductive to finding that clarity. Clarity comes through taking action. Confidence comes through taking action. So we can start small and build up, but we really want to make sure that we are still practicing, still talking to people about this, even if we don't know exactly what this looks like yet. So this is an example of something you could say if you're still exploring what's next in your career transition. And I saw a lot of people in the chat were saying that they're still looking for clarity. So there were quite a few ones in here. So if you fall into that category, this is the type of future connect the dots script that you would want to use. I'm currently exploring opportunities it could be an industry, it could be a skill area. So it could be something that's generally open, something like leadership, something like management. So it doesn't have to be super specific there. You can still talk to people about this. Where I can leverage my strengths in what skills do you want to use? So this doesn't have to be that you're selling yourself. What are you good at? Really think about what skills you want to use and what you're drawn to. So you're particularly drawn to what? What aspect of what industry, what role, working with people, collaboration, project management. This can be broad and you're opening that conversation so that others can also add ideas and that you're learning from what others do as well. And then lastly here, the ask. Again, most important piece, this is just an example of one, but I really encourage you to think about what do you want to get out of these conversations as you start to share your story. So I'd love to learn more from others in this space. Do you know anyone who might be open to a conversation about their experience? So this is a great way to get a connection there, to get someone to introduce you to someone who might know more about this space. And I'm just going to check the chat really quick. So just sharing, I got a rejection letter for a position I really wanted, networked it, applied for another position there. I'm on my way now to a second interview with the original position. Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that, Jessica. And again, this just shows how important networking is. So if something feels like a good fit, even if you get a no, I actually had a client share this with me the other day. She did apply for a job, didn't get that specific job, but stayed in touch with the company. And just a few months later, another position opened up that was a better fit for her. And she ended up getting the job there. And they were actually really impressed that she stayed in touch and kept that connection alive. So let me show you what this looks like in practice here. This is a real life example. So this is actually what I used to say to people when I was transitioning from digital marketing into coaching. I didn't say this exactly word for word. So let me give you an idea of what this could look like in a conversation. So say the stage here is a networking event and I'm at an event where I'm meeting people. So I might be meeting someone, I'll just use Jordan because that was on the last slide. Hi, Jordan, how are you? Or he would say, hi, I'm Jordan. I say, hi, I'm Lauren. It's so great to meet you. What brings you to this event? He tells me a little bit about what he's doing at the event, why he's there. What are you doing at this event? Oh, well, right now I'm transitioning from digital marketing consulting into coaching. I really love helping professionals navigate big life changes and career transitions. Like, oh, wow, how cool. What spurred that change? Well, yeah, I spent the last few years working in digital marketing for startups around the world. I was managing really diverse teams from a young age. And while I loved marketing, the part that I really loved was coaching and developing my team, helping others grow, helping them gain confidence, and really reaching their full potential. So I decided to get certified as a coach, what brought me to what I'm doing today. Now I focus on that full time. So that's just to give you an example too of how you don't have to just get this all out in one breath. This can be in a conversation where you're going back and forth. It can happen naturally. And then we want to get to that ask piece. So we definitely want to get to the piece where in this situation, for example, where I'm telling someone about coaching, I could even ask that person, do you know anyone who's looking to transition careers or anyone that's struggling with their career path right now? That could lead to clients if that was something I was looking for. Or if I'm looking to connect with others in the space, do you know anyone in the coaching or career development space that I should connect with? I'd love to learn more from others' journeys in this field. So that's why that last piece, there's no right or wrong, but think about what do you actually want out of these conversations? What is it that you would like to come next? That's going to help you craft that last piece, that ask there. So this is the workshop piece. We have the script right here. This is the part that I said we're going to do a little bit differently today. So I'm just looking, we have about 80 people in here right now, which is amazing. This is the part that I see a lot of people tend to drop off. And so what I'm going to say is don't drop off. This is the most valuable part of today's webinar. You're actually going to take this and action on it. We're going to have 2 minutes here. I'm going to put on some nice relaxing music. I stole this beautiful music from Natalia, who's another coach here, and she uses this in some of her presentations. And we're going to take 2 minutes to actually write out your script. Start to think about what it is that you want to say so that you can actually take this and start using it. Again, how many of us go to courses like this, we go through webinars, and then we never actually do anything with the information that we're absorbing? So I wanted to make sure that we actually built time in today for you to do something with this. You're actually going to craft your pitch. This is part of coaching. We're actually doing something right now so you can walk away with something that you can start using. So I'm going to be in the chat and I see Jillian saying, grab a pen and paper, or you can open up a Google Doc. You can do this on your phone. We'll be in the chat for any. Yes, let me go back and share so someone's asking to see the, here we go. So take a screenshot of this if you would like to see an example of what this could look like. And then I'm going to put the script up again for those of you who would rather have the script. But if you'd like this, take a screenshot. And for those of you who are watching the replay, I know this could be a little bit awkward as well. You can pause this and take as much time as you want if you are watching the replay to actually get this down. So I will be in the chat if you're feeling stuck in any place or you feel like you could use support or you're not sure what to say. We'll have 2 minutes to go back and forth in the chat. So let me know. I'm going to put on the music and actually take these 2 minutes to write out your elevator pitch. All right, so that probably went by somewhat fast. I know 2 minutes can go by like this, but we really wanted to make sure that you had some space to actually workshop this. So I would love to hear from you in the chat. How did that go? You can drop an emoji that lets me know how that went. I didn't see any questions coming up, so I'm hoping that means that you were able to get something down and workshop this a bit. And it doesn't look like we had too many people drop off either, which is great. So you actually stayed and went through this with us. All right, so I'm seeing good. Now I need to memorize it. What's positive to say in my current situation if right now I'm unemployed? So if right now you're unemployed or between jobs, you could say something like, right now I'm exploring opportunities. So you don't necessarily have to say that you have a job right now. You don't have to say that you're between jobs. You can say something like, right now I'm exploring opportunities. All right, not enough time to finish, but a good starting point. Great writing it down. Okay, so one thing I want to talk about that I've seen a few times now is this idea of memorizing. So I'm actually going to go back here right now. So one thing we want to make sure that we're actually not doing is memorizing. So we don't want to take this script and memorize it. And then again, as I said before, this is kind of a bit of a graphic visualization there, but we don't want to regurgitate this on people because that's exactly what it is. It's like, you know, writing it down, memorizing it, and then regurgitating it. We want this to be conversational. We want this to be something where we're able to, you know, fit this in a conversation where we're going back and forth with someone and we're not just necessarily saying it all in one breath. Why is that important? First of all, it's going to seem scripted if you just memorize the script and then repeat that back to people. And also, it's going to be a lot for people to remember in one breath. So what we want to do is make sure that we are building in some space for questions to go back and forth. And this, again, is to remember the key points without necessarily memorizing exactly what you want to say. And I see some of you are dropping your script right in here or your elevator pitch, which is great. At the end, we'll have some time. We're going to take a volunteer and actually give some feedback on this too. Okay, so I'm seeing some more time would be great. So this is something, again, you have the script. So take it, screenshot it. We're also going to send out a follow-up that has the script in it and also some further resources. You have this now. You can take it, you can work with it. You can also use AI to help you to really polish this. But what I want to get across is try not to memorize it. Use those key points, the intro, current, past, future, and remember the ask at the end. Something that's great about this script is you can also tweak this a little bit based on who you're actually talking to. So if you are in an interview, that tell me about yourself question that all of us tend to find a little bit scary, this is a great way to tell your story, where you're at and connecting the dots to why that opportunity would be a great fit for you. Obviously, in that situation, we might leave out the ask part. You could use this at networking events. You can use this to tell friends, family, and acquaintances. You can use this in a lot of different situations. So if you didn't have time to finish it in those 2 minutes, take a screenshot and make sure that you can get to this maybe later today so you can start practicing. All right, and I'm just checking the chat. What else do we have in here? Good start. Tricky to fill in the blanks because I'm not necessarily looking to transition into a new industry, but between roles. Okay, and that's all right. So maybe this is not about transitioning industries. So this, you could use the new role piece here within your industry. Where is it that you want to use your skills and your experience moving forward? It doesn't necessarily have to be for a career transition. It could also be for a role transition. Oh, I love that some of you are sharing these in the chat. Way to take this and practice right away. Awesome, awesome. Okay, so I'm going to get to what now is the second most valuable part of today. Actually, this is probably the most valuable part. When it comes to coaching, the thing that's so valuable about coaching is there are always action items built in to the end of your sessions with your coach. So coaching is forward moving. We're always looking at how can we take action and move forward. So this is an extra dose of accountability today. I would love to hear from you. What are you going to commit to? Now that you've all started this, now that you have your elevator pitch, what are you going to do with it? So there are a few options here. We have A, B, C. You can either drop an emoji or you can drop A, B, C in here. And I see Jillian just put them in the chat as well. What do you want to commit to? If this is something where you're really just getting started and you're building that confidence, start small. You can practice with friends. You can practice in the mirror. So when we think about memorizing, think about practicing. Even before I jumped onto this webinar, I went through my slides multiple times and just got in the habit of talking about them rather than reading a script, going through each slide and practicing what it was that I wanted to say. So we can practice with friends, we can practice in the mirror. If we're getting started and you want to start small, that's still taking action. We can build and practice. So say you are ready to really build momentum here and move forward. Share your pitch with someone new this week. Again, this does not have to be a formal networking event. At my ceramics class the other day, there was a new student in the class. We got talking. She was telling me how she is a fashion designer. It hasn't been going that well for her, and she wants to transition careers into something else. And I told her about how I happen to be a career transition coach, and we got talking about that. So this is something where you can tell your story and get in the habit of telling your story all the time. Pick a place and tell someone new. And then if you're really ready to ramp this up, expand. Go to a networking event, go to a meetup. Start telling people about this. Put yourself in spaces where you are creating opportunities for yourself rather than waiting for those opportunities to come to you. So again, this is an extra dose of accountability here. I'm going to challenge all of you to please drop in the chat. There are 80 of you in here right now, and I've only seen a few come in. What is it that you would like to commit to? Because when you commit to it with a group of people or even with one other person, chances are your follow through is going to be much better. So even just letting others in this room know what you want to commit to is going to increase your chances that you'll actually follow through with it. And Jillian just dropped them in again. All right, we have some B's, some C's, A, B, and C. Amazing. So yeah, I mean, you can start with A, build to B, and then go to C. And so again, this is where the power of accountability and coaching really comes in, because those actions, we can talk through things, we can brainstorm, we can even come up with that pitch. But if we're not doing anything with it, it doesn't matter. So we want to take action, take steps, no matter how small, even if these are baby steps, we're building that confidence muscle as we go. So make sure that you're choosing something, drop it in the chat so we can all hold you accountable. Okay, I see a lot more coming in now. So apparently my little spiel worked here. Awesome. A and B. Kind of just shared something to an elevator pitch right before this call. Amazing. And I see some people are dropping their LinkedIn. That's awesome. Think about it. There are 80 people in 82 now, people in this room right now. Think about how many people in here you could network with. Who in here might be able to lead to an opportunity or be a connection that then leads to something? Everyone is in here because they're looking for support. So when you provide support to others, they are more likely to provide support to you. All right, and I'm just scrolling up here. Looks like we have a question. Long time in the music industry who wants to transition out, but explaining my skill set outside the industry is difficult. So I would say that there are skill sets and transferable skills in every industry, no matter what it is you do. So obviously the clarity piece is important here, but really understanding what it is that you are good at and what it is that you want to continue doing. So take a look at your current job. What is it that you love about it? What are the things that really fill your cup? What are the things that drain your cup? Those things that fill your cup, chances are those are the things that you enjoy, that you want to get better at, that you're good at. Focus on those things. What could that lead to? And again, I want to make sure that we have some time at the end for spot coaching. So what I'm going to do is hand this over to Justice. He's going to talk a little bit about the special offer that we have for all of you today to thank you for coming. And again, if you're ready to really supercharge this and bring it to the next level with accountability, with action items that are personalized to you, if you could use support with your elevator pitch, that's where this offer is going to come in. So I'm going to let him take this away. And then if you stay to the end, we'll have some time for a volunteer who would like some hot seat coaching and any questions or support that you might be needing. So I'm going to hand it over to Justice.
Thank you so much, Lauren, for all the great insights and takeaways thus far. And then, like this slide does say, we're taking this to the next step of our career. And so, what that will look like is a coaching membership. That's kind of what we love here. And our coaching memberships are great because they are All of will help you navigate to your goals by working through a proven and successful process, and both doing so with clarity and confidence. And in choosing to come through like a membership, you've got some of the components such as the one-on-one coaching sessions. So someone like Lauren be in your corner to kind of help you navigate the challenge that you're facing, as well as things as like exclusive access to our tools and resources. So for example, we have a growing Slack community where the coaches and members are engaging and supporting one another each day. You also have access to our community group coaching sessions. So similar to this, what that looks like is there's about 8 sessions a month that we encourage people to take advantage of in addition to their one-on-one sessions because, like I said, it's already included in your membership, so there's no extra fee to attend any of those. And then people, especially in the beginning phases, they're finding just a lot of extra value add on another coach and another professional perspective instead of eyes on a situation. It's really just helping get that strong foundation and push that needle towards progress and clarity and support at an elevated pace. Um, so if this would be something of interest to you also, we post those schedules about a month in advance. So that way people do have time to kind of strategize work and life around that if they do find particular topics interesting to supplement with their doing with their main coach. And then again, there is that personalized guidance, working with a coach that understands you, what you're going through. Our pairing process tries to put coachees with coaches that can kind of understand that. So speaking your language, understanding what you've gone through to really help roadmap out with that clarity and confidence. Again, just practical next steps to really get you excited about that. And so, because we do know that this is an investment and we want to be able to support you, we are offering a special promotional code. It's kind of like a flash sale for everyone here today, as well as watching the recording through the end of this week, Friday. We're offering you a third off of your first month of membership with promo code PITCH. And again, all of this will be sent in a follow-up email as well. So if you don't have a chance to get the QR code right there now, you will have all the links and the promo code there as well to kind of go back and look at that. Um, but what's really exciting is that the first 9 people that do decide to enroll in a membership, they're going to get an exclusive group coaching session with our chief coaching officer and co-founder Forum. And this is super exciting because Forum doesn't actually take on new clients at this point in time. So we're really excited to offer this as a special exclusive thing to really help take everything that we've been working on today to that next level. So if anyone has any clarifying questions on anything that I might have just mentioned, we can look in the chat real quick, or my contact information will be sent out in the follow-up as well. So you can reach out to me, as well as if you have already spoken with someone on my team, I know that the other RSs on our team would be more than happy to continue a conversation and give any clarity that you would need to that. So are there any questions on anything that I kind of just went over before we get into a little bit more of the spot coaching?
Feel free to drop them in the chat as well. I'm just over here smiling because I'm seeing so much networking happening, people dropping their elevator pitches in here. So I was just scrolling through and seeing some of what's going on in there. But before we get into a little bit of spot coaching, does anyone have questions about the membership for Justice? And as Jillian said too, you can always reach out directly as well if you have questions. Justice and our RS team are available to hop on a call with you. So if you have questions but don't want to ask them here, we can also follow up afterwards. So we have about 15 minutes. And what we're going to do is open this up. So I'm going to check the chat because we're going to take one volunteer that would like to share their pitch. Wow, okay, Lorraine raised her hand really quick. Amazing. Okay, so just to make sure, this is to share your pitch?
Yes.
Yes, amazing. Okay, so thank you so much for volunteering so quickly. This is great. We would love to hear your pitch. Again, this is just getting in the habit of sharing and really telling that story. So you'll share and then we'll get into a little bit of feedback too, if you're open to that.
Okay, yes, I'd love that.
Okay, go for it whenever you're ready.
All right. So this is very rough and I love all of your points. It's very helpful. All right. So hi, I'm Lorraine. It's nice to meet you. Right now I'm transitioning from, of course, I'm reading this now. I will practice in the mirror. That's what I committed to.
Totally fine.
Yeah. So right now I'm transitioning from a health challenge to working again and getting back into life. I've spent years interested in personal development and applying tools to my life and sharing them with others in a personal and professional environment. I'm currently exploring opportunities in, and I put a blank because I don't know. I have some a lot of ideas, but I haven't narrowed it down yet. Whether it's personal development, health and wellness, the neuroscience of thriving. I'm trained as a life coach. I've done some of that. So it's in the area of thriving. So that's what I'd love to really get verbiage that the average person can hear. I was at a class reunion a couple of years ago, and I'd said something about creating cultures that thrive. And he was like, I have no idea what you just said. So I said, HR. He said, oh, okay, yeah. So yeah, to get that clear communication. And then, so I'm currently exploring opportunities in, I'll just say, the science of thriving for now, where I can leverage my strengths in life coaching and mindset is what I put in the blank for now. And I'm particularly ... And then I ran out of time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how does it feel to share even just what you have so far?
It feels good because it feels like progress. I felt pretty stuck, and kind of all over the place. I've got this idea and this idea and this idea. And of course, like you said, the confidence factor, the lack of confidence. I haven't worked in 7 years because I've been so sick, and I don't feel as confident as I used to, and the clarity and the imposter syndrome, all that's there too. So it feels good to take this step of at least starting to zone in.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. So I'm a typing processor. I was taking some notes while you were sharing, and your vulnerability in the share is so powerful, so that's really memorable as well. You're sharing vulnerably about yourself and your journey, and that allows others to feel that connection with you. So something that I do see people do a lot is we make this very robotic. We make this something where here's who I am, this is what I do, this is what I want next. And, it's very robotic. But when we're telling our story, we want it to feel like that. You're sharing, you're connecting with people, you're building those relationships. So the first thing I wrote down was vulnerability was beautiful,
Thank you.
So
It felt
yeah,
vulnerable.
yeah, definitely. And I mean, sharing in a large group of people is also very vulnerable. So thank you for that. So are you open to a little spot coaching to round some of this out?
I would love it. Yes.
Yeah. Awesome. So you mentioned there was a piece that you left a blank. So you said I'm exploring, I believe, and then blank because you weren't really sure what that was just yet. Did I hear that correctly?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. And then you had a few ideas there. So I don't know if you remember, let me see if I can actually go back to this script here. So I'm currently exploring or opportunities in, and it doesn't have to be an industry. It could also be a skill area. So you mentioned, helping others thrive, helping others to reach their potential. What feels like the thing that really lights you up there that if someone were to hear that and then that led to something, you would be really excited about it?
Well, I love asking people what they love to do,
Hmm.
and watch them light up and start zoning in on that, and see them start seeing possibilities with that.
Hmm.
Bringing out the best in others, I feel like, is a strength, and I love it, when they have that moment of, whatever that is. That I love that clarity, or that, ooh, when a light bulb goes on.
Amazing. So bringing out the best in others, helping them find clarity. Yeah.
Yeah.
And how do you do that for other people?
Usually by asking questions.
Mm.
Yeah, and just I'm truly interested in what they love and them thriving.
Amazing. Okay, so I just wrote down a few things that could possibly fill in that blank. Let's see if any resonate with you. So I'm exploring opportunities that would allow me to bring out the best in others. I'm an inquisitive and curious person, and I love to ask questions that help other people find clarity.
Yeah.
How does that land with you?
Um, I like it. I feel like I would want to simplify the verbiage a little bit. Um, but I like that. I like that. Yeah.
What would it look like to simplify it?
Um, mm. Can you repeat what you said? Can you repeat like that? To,
I
inquisitive and
sure hope so. Let's see.
yeah.
So I said, exploring opportunities to bring out that allow me to bring out the best in others. I'm a naturally inquisitive person and I love asking questions that help others find clarity.
Yes, yes, yes.
So what would it look like to simplify that a little bit?
To take out the inquisitive part, even though
Mm,
it's true, I would just take out that little bit and just keep it to asking the questions that bring out the clarity. Yeah.
amazing. Amazing. And then it seems like the part at the end there that you didn't get to yet is that ask.
Yeah.
So when you start telling people about your story, this career transition, what are you hoping to take from those conversations?
Something like, yeah, I know someone who this, or yeah, you might look at so and so company, they're doing this. Um, so just a little about me, I'm moving back to my hometown. So I know I have a lot of classmates who know a lot of people, and it's kind of this, it's not a small town, but it kind of feels like a small town in that way. It's like everybody knows everybody. So I'm going to an event this weekend, and I would love, and I know they would love to help me. It's just a matter of me being clear about what I'm asking for. So, do you know, I guess something like, do you know anyone or any company who's doing that?
Yeah. And even if you open that up a little bit, so when we say do you, can you, that naturally leads someone to think yes or no. So if we can open that up, what ideas come up for you? Or what companies do you know of? What people do you know of that, also do that?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And that leads someone to think of something they can fill the blank in with rather than a yes or no. So
Yeah.
with that ask, I know I have a do you know anyone here, but we could say something like, who do you know that would resonate with that or that would be excited by that? And again, that creates that spider web of connections where you never know who someone could connect you to or what company they can put on your radar that could then lead to your next opportunity.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. Awesome. That's a great point.
Yeah, well, thank you so much, Lorraine. I'm
Thank you,
just
Lauren.
looking, yeah, thank you so much for sharing, for being here. I'm just looking in the chat to see if anyone else has questions in here. So we do have about 7 minutes. So let me just look in the chat and see what's coming up. So I feel like I'm missing opportunities out there that fit my skill set and experience. I don't want to limit myself, but find something, but want to find something to be passionate about. So this, Jamie, is great when we don't really know exactly what it is. And that's why I put this script back up here, because we don't necessarily need to limit ourselves when we're still in that exploration phase. So that's where the intention of these conversations and what we want to walk away with is so important. Right now, maybe it's more about learning from other people. And, you mentioned here, you want to find things that fit your skill set and experiences. So maybe you start asking people if they know of others who have a similar skill set or have a similar background to you and are doing something different than you're doing now. So you can be in that space where you're gathering information, not necessarily having to do something with it just yet. You never know who can introduce you to a new way of thinking, a new role, a new company that could then spark something else for you. All right, I see lots of LinkedIn's in here, which is awesome. Lisa, who do you know? Yeah, so that's a great way to open up that question. Again, when we ask a question with a do or a can, that can sometimes narrow a little bit the responses that we're going to get back. So even if we open that up a little bit, Who do you know? What do you know? What ideas come up for you? That causes the other person to really think about what answer they could fill that in with rather than a yes or a no. All right, what else? Love the idea of opening up the question. Fun fact, that is a coaching skill right there that I'm giving all of you to use. So opening up the question, the same happens in a coaching session where if we ask a yes or no question, that limits possibilities, where if we open the question, that leads to further possibilities. And I'm just gonna make sure that I go back to this last slide for any of you who are looking to leverage this opportunity today. All right, yes, let's recommit before signing off. Okay, so let's go back to this slide right here. So an extra dose of accountability. What are you all going to do with what you learned today? So you can start small, practice with friends, practice in the mirror. You can build and practice by sharing your pitch with someone new. Or if you're ready to expand, so when Lorraine just shared, it seems like Lorraine's ready to expand. She's moving back to a place where she knows a lot of people and can really open up that conversation. People that want to help. Generally, people want to help. So again, if we focus on making that easy for them to support, more often than not, they are willing to help with that. All right, so we have lots of A's in here. That is great. So if you are putting A, if you're going to practice in the mirror, I highly encourage you to give yourself a date or a time where you're going to start transitioning that into B or C. So if you're starting small, if you're practicing with friends, if you're practicing in the mirror, make sure that you're transitioning that into starting to share with other people as well. Because again, confidence is a muscle. And if we're not actively building it, it's not getting stronger. So I like to think of coaching in the same way that you would think of sports coaching. Say you're working with a volleyball coach and you have, an appointment with them, a training session every week. But in between those training sessions, you're eating McDonald's and sitting on the couch binging Netflix in between every training session. You're not going to get the same results as someone who meets with their volleyball coach and then in between each of those training sessions, they're getting out there and putting what they're learning into practice. They're practicing it, they're building, they're doing a little bit more every day. So those are the people that we're seeing have the most results through coaching, are the people that are actually taking what they're doing in their sessions and translating that outside of sessions as well. And I see Justice just shared his email in the chat and also his LinkedIn. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to him. I'll also drop my LinkedIn in here for anyone who would like to connect or anyone who has further questions. There we go. Awesome. B and C, B and C. All right, last 2 minutes here to drop what it is that you are committed to in the chat or your LinkedIn if you'd like to use this as a space to network and to start telling your story. All right, Justice, anything else that you would like to share before we wrap up today?
Nope. Just want to remind everyone that the special promo code is only valid through Friday at midnight. So you've got this whole week to do it. And then the first 9 people do get that special exclusive group session with Forum. So I wouldn't wait because I feel like that's going to fill up. She's a great wealth of knowledge and I can't wait for this. I'm excited for that group session.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you all for being here so much. And just as a side note, the pitch there, when you go into the QR code, you'll have to add that once you add the membership option that you want to your cart. So there'll be a little space that says, do you have a coupon code? You open that up and then just drop pitch in there. And if you have any issues with that, feel free to reach out to us and we're happy to help with that process as well. All right. Thank you everyone so much. Have a wonderful rest of your day off if you have today off. And if not, a wonderful rest of your day and week. Thank you so much for being here with us. And we will be sharing the replay and some follow-up resources shortly. So keep an eye out for that. And you know where to find us if you have any questions. Thanks for being here.